Welcome to another Wreck2resto episode. On today's episode, I'll be giving an in-depth rundown of my plans with my HK Premier. With a project of this size, it is very, very easy to get overwhelmed when you start pulling a car to bits. Sometimes you think to yourself, how am I ever going to get this thing back together? Obviously, having one project under my belt that I've done from start to finish, I've learnt quite a few things with that one, and what I've learnt with that car, I'm going to apply to this one. One of the big things that I found that helped me get through the ute was being organised. So you basically, as you're working through your tasks, you set a bit of a list of what you need to, what you want to achieve, and then you just slowly tick away at that list. When you look at the project as a whole, it is obviously a very, very big undertaking to do it, but if you can just break it down into little chunks at a time. So for example, with rust repairs, instead of trying to tackle the entire car all at once, you break it down panel by panel. So you go out to the shed and say, okay, I'm going to start on this door. I'm going to make this door rust free. These ones I'm doing skins. So basically from here down is what you see behind me. So the front doors will get reskinned. So I just work at one panel at a time. So I'll get that one done to the point where it's ready to go back on the car. When you weld the skin on and fold them over, you don't do that until you've got all the panels lined up, because you obviously want to get the lines nice and straight. This set of back doors that I've got here, I've actually picked them, so that's why they're a different colour. These ones I purchased them from Kalgoorlie, I think it was, because the original doors that I had were quite badly rusted out along the top. To find a set of rust-free HK rear doors is almost impossible. I think it took me about 5 years to find this set. These ones I've had, would be probably 3 or 4 years now that I've had them, and I was looking for a good 5 years to find a good set before that. So if you ever do see a set come up, just grab them. These ones have had a couple previous repairs down the bottom. That will get redone, so I'm probably just going to do lower skins. So when I say rust-free, these ones still need a little bit of work, but the upper sections and also the inner frame is really, really solid on these. So yeah, they do need a little bit of work down the bottom, but they're nowhere near as bad as some of the other ones that I've seen. So you can probably see I've started a bit of a whiteboard for this one. I did a bit of work on this a couple of years ago before I started on Jez's ute. So these are the sections that I was working through. So basically, as I did a section, I crossed it off, do another one, cross it off, and just slowly work through. You can see there's quite a few there that I haven't crossed off, but that's as far as I got with this one until I started on the other ute. We'll go for a bit of a walk around the body and I'll show you the repairs that need doing. So these are the original guards that come off the car. They do have some, you can see there's a little bit of fiberglass and filler down the bottom where they've had a previous repair done. That'll all get redone. So you can sort of see how the filler is actually covering the moulding clip. So these will get lowers done. Once this car is, most of the bodywork's done, I want to test fit all the stainless moulds. So you can see behind me, this is the majority of the moulds laid out. They're actually in really, really good condition. There's a couple little bends in them, but there's no holes or anything drilled. These will all straighten out and polish up really, really nice. The smaller sections are still packaged up, but these are all the ones that run along the bottom of the doors, wheel arch moulds. So these will all get, all the dings will get repaired, they'll all get polished up, and they'll come up like new. Got all the plenum sections. They're all in pretty good nick, a little bit of surface rust, but they'll tidy up really well. These are the plates that go on the bottom of the doors. These will get re-chromed because these are actually a chromed metal, not a stainless. So these are some of the stuff that I'll have to get sent off to get chromed. got all the stainless moulds here that go along the top of the door trims, so they'll get polished up. Coming over to these other bits, these are the tail light extensions, so these are the original ones off this car. As you can see, the outer chrome's not too bad, but the inner chrome is quite pitted. So these will get sent off and get re-chromed at the same time, and they should come up pretty good. So you can see that there's a bit of pitting on the back of them, but they'll come up pretty good. And I've also got a spare set of these as well. I'll probably get sent off at the same time, and they can just make, so whichever ones turn out the best I'll use. One of the companies that I've seen on eBay, I can leave the link in the description below, have actually started reproducing HK tail lights. So these lenses and the tail lights are both brand new from the same company, and you have to use the original backing plates where the globes go, but everything else is new. So pretty happy with them. Moving around, there's a little bit of rust in the bottom of the windscreen. So the windscreen's just sitting in there at the moment. But as you can see along here, it's a pretty common area to rust out on HK TGs. And this is a Dino's rust repair section. It's been sitting for quite a while. That's why it's got surface rust on it. That will get treated, and then that will all get cut out and replaced with this rust repair panel. So same deal with the doors on this side. They'll just get this will get reskinned, and this will get a couple repairs done on the lower sections. But yeah, same thing. Just work it a door at a time, get them rust free. As you can see, there's a little bit of rust along the edge of the gutter here. It's the same thing. This will just get cut out in sections and done. So this front one can probably come back to about here where it's good steel. I'll remove the gutter, fix the rust, and then the gutter will weld back on. Same deal here. I'll probably just do this in a couple sections just so I'm not cutting the entire roof out. This one here has actually got a bit of rust that's gone back inside the roof structure. So when I unpick this and take the outer roof skin off, I'll have to fix the rust in behind it. Then the roof skin can go back on. Got this car behind me. The other side is actually pretty solid, so I should be able to use a couple sections out of this roof to repair this one that's damaged. There's a couple little sections in the lower dog leg down here. So basically just cut these sections out and just replate them. I've had a bit of a clean out inside, so if you have a look at the floors inside the car, it is probably one of the most rust-free floors I've seen in a very long time. So pretty lucky with that. I don't have to do a heap of floor pans or anything like that. There's a couple pinholes up in the front feet well, and that's about it. This is the rear quarter section that I actually cut off another car that was getting wrecked. So this is the one that I can use to repair all of this previous damage. So I can either try and panel beat this out or cut a section out of this, TIG weld it in and be done with it. So you can see this had a little bit of rust down the bottom. That's why I didn't worry about drilling all the spot welds out. And it also, the lower section was pretty rusted, but the top section is in pretty good nick. So it doesn't have any big dings in it, and the body line is nice and straight. So this one that runs through here is nice and straight, and you can see on the Prem, that one has been pretty mashed up. So moving around, I've actually unpicked the lower windscreen panel on this a few years ago because it had a bit of rust in behind here, and you can see there's a bit of rust in this lower section. So this repair here, I'm going to have to drill all these spot welds out. I'm probably going to remove this lower section. This, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it as a whole section because the one in the donor car is pretty good. So I'm either going to cut the whole thing out, drill spot welds out, replace the whole section, or just do the bit that's rusty. I haven't decided that. It's one of those things that as I start pulling it apart, I'll see how bad it is. And if it keeps going, then it's going to be a lot less work to replace the entire panel rather than doing a heap of repairs on it. And then once that's done, I can fix the rust. There's a couple of bits of rust in the corner of that panel, And obviously you can see up here and up here. These are the original screens from when I bought the car. So I've just left the glass in there. So it's going to end up getting new front and rear screens, but I've just left the glass just to protect the stainless moulding. Once you take this off, it's easy to get damaged. So I've just left it together for now. So this is the boot lid. I might just grab a ruler. So it might make it a little bit more obvious. You can see the daylight, no daylight, daylight. So that's how much this panel has been damaged. And it comes the whole way out. So when this was blasted, if you have a look up in here, where the inner frame sits, this skin has been pushed in the whole way around where that relief is. So it's basically here, here, and here. So what I'm going to try and do first, before I completely get rid of this boot lid, is I'm going to try a bit of heat shrinking on these areas that have pushed out. If I can't get it to move that much, then I have got a spare boot lid I can use, but I'm hoping to be able to salvage this one. But I just grabbed the other one because they don't come up very often, and when it did, I figured I might as well have it as a spare. But if I can fix this one, I'll fix it, but if not, I do have a spare. So moving to the inside of the boot now. This is the rear panel, so this is what goes above the boot lid and below the rear screen. And you can see rust hole, it's got a little bit of damage in this corner, but the rest of the panel is not too bad. So this will basically just cut through here, replace this section, and same thing on this corner. These are some Dino's Auto Restorations panels. These were purchased probably 8 years ago, so that's why they've gone a bit surface rusty, because this is just cold rolled steel. It's where they've been sitting. It's very easy to treat this with some rust converter and they'll come up fine, but these are the lower sections for the rear quarters. So as you can see here, these will just have these rust repair panels welded in through here. So I've got both sides to do. And then there's a bit of rust on the inside of this panel here, so this will need unpicking. This actually had a gas tank in it when I bought it, so that's where the gas filler basically came through. And it had the fill point out up here. So that will have to get fixed at the same time. And you can see the holes in the tubs. So when I do the mini tubs with the tubs out of the donor car, that'll fix all those holes. At the moment, I've got a couple of screws holding the rear bumper on, but you can see that this is the Rare Spares rear beaver panel. So this one here is all test fitted. It fits pretty good. This will just need welding in. So when I start on the rust repairs on this car, this will need doing before it goes on the rotisserie. So my plan of attack is basically start at the back and work my way forwards. So this will be the very first thing that gets done. I'll get it up on the hoist. I'll start stripping pretty well everything off the car. This will get done, welded on, finished. As soon as I've done that, I can mount it back to the rotisserie and I can start working on all the other rust repairs. With the rotisserie, it just makes it so much easier because you can put the car in whatever position you need to be able to weld. I don't know if anyone's ever tried laying under a car welding a floor pan in, but it's not a lot of fun. So being able to do it on a rotisserie and put it in the exact position that you need is just an absolute game changer. So that's pretty well the extent of the rust repairs that need doing on this car. So yeah, as I said, I'm basically going to start from the back and work my way to the front. The other thing to keep in mind when you're doing these sort of projects is lead times on certain things can be upwards of a year. So, for example, dash fascia, heater surround, all that sort of thing. If you send them off and you want to get them re-chromed, you can be waiting quite a long time. So they're the sort of things you don't want to wait until the very end of the project, send them away, and then all of a sudden that's going to delay your project another year because you're waiting on components. So when you're doing these sort of things, always do research for the entire project, not just what you're working on. And if you've got deadlines that you're trying to meet, or if you want to get a car finished for a certain event or whatever, you need to make sure you're sending these things off a year in advance just so you can guarantee that you're going to get them back. The other thing you got to keep in mind, this project's obviously going to be a little bit different from when it was a standard car. Standard car was either a 6-cylinder or it was a 307 Chev. If you're putting bigger engine, bigger transmission, bigger diff, it could be something that needs engineered to get licensed in whatever state you're in. Before you even touch a car, I'd always just have a chat to an engineer. If you can say, okay, this is what I'm building, this is what I intend to put in it, can this be licensed, can it get signed off? And if they can say, yep, this is what you need to do, you might need to put retractable seat belts in it, you might need to put extra bracing in. If you're doing mini tubs, there's a certain way you've got to do it. But if you can have the engineer on board from the start, by the time it actually comes to getting it licensed, you're already going to be miles ahead. If you build a car and at the very last minute you think, oh, well, I have to get it engineered now, chances are they're not going to like the way that you've done things and you're going to have to redo it. So I'm not a fan of doing things twice. So if you can avoid that, like I said, have a chat to an engineer. There's always going to be one local to you. Anyway, that's pretty well just my couple tips and tricks when it comes to doing a project and how you've got to work through them. Obviously, pretty keen to get this one done now. Behind me, I've got all the running gear. So on a future episode, I'll go for an in-depth rundown of all of the running gear I've got sitting behind me that's going to end up in the Prem. Also got all the interior and all those bits and pieces. We love seeing this content getting out and about all over Australia and even all over the world. So leave a comment below. Where are you watching from? We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.